Crew Pros, your single source for high-quality, affordable home services. If you are remodeling, repairing, or replacing, Crew Pros are the professionals that can do the job no matter the size. If you are thinking of remodeling your kitchen or bath, needing a new HVAC system, plumbing repairs, flooring, or a complete roof replacement, call Crew Pros. Crew Pros, proud sponsor of the Grizz 901 podcast.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said, I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What up, Grizz 901? This is Daniel. We're back. I completely messed up my intro because I don't know what just happened to the video. My feed completely cut out twice during it, but let's start back over. What up, Grizz Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901, presented by our favorite friends over at State Farm. Zach Jaworski, State Farm, where they treat you like what? Like family. You're welcome, everybody. All right, let's get into it. We're going to bring in for crossover week. We have Luke here from the No Bluffin Podcast. We're going to have a pretty quick episode tonight. Obviously, it's off the rails already, but I want to go ahead and get into it. So, Luke, let's go ahead and bring you in. I want to ask you initially, what are your thoughts on that game? It's the Grizzlies took the loss tonight to the Trailblazers at home. Fourth loss of the year at home, which is a little weird. What's your first thoughts?
My first thoughts are how quickly we kind of lost handle of it. You know, like I feel like we were pretty firm, like leading the game at the end of the third. I went to go to the bathroom, take care of business, and I came back, and it just felt like we had lost a lot of ground. And I don't really know why that happened because we seem to have the numbers game. I don't really know. You know, I always worry about Dame. Dame always scares the absolute shit out of me. And so I know it's always hard to count this Blazers team out when he's playing the way he was. I mean, good God, how many points did he finish with?
42.
Yeah, like that's what are we supposed to do when that happens, you know?
Well, guarding would be like that's where I would start probably. Like if
just
I was
guard
like
him.
Yeah, if I was thinking about like how can you stop Damian Lillard, I would guard him. That would be the first thing I would do. I would not help off of him. That's another thing. I wouldn't close out so hard that I jump underneath of his feet and give him easy free throws because that's an easy 3-point. At one point, I know they were talking. I don't know how many he ended up making tonight, but they said he had 28 straight free throws, like on the year, like. He now has a streak of 28. So I know he made probably another 10. So what are we at 38 at this point? Like it's ridiculous.
15.
Like it's just ridiculous. There's so many things that you can't do. You can't give a shooter free shots at the free throw line. That's just the number one rule. Like that's how it all literally happens. And so the Grizzlies take the loss tonight. It was at home. Like I said, it was their fourth loss in the year. They lose 122 to 112. And it was a bad game overall. I want to get your thoughts on this because there's so much that I want to say, but it just seemed like the water shut off, kind of like what you were talking about. David Vickers in our chat, he said the same thing. I thought we had this game because Ja was killing the assist stats. I agree. I have something I want to talk about a little bit later on. Don't let me forget. Just remind me. Freeze out. Don't let me forget. I promise you I won't forget that for that phrase. But so what are your thoughts on that? Because it looked like as you were talking and you were like kind of like, I was just kind of shocked that we were losing. But what do you think the reason of that is? The fact that we look so well as a team, right? Everything looks like it's clicking, but we never could get away from them. But then all of a sudden the game flips and we can't get back. Like it's like the uphill climb is ridiculous. But if we're downhill, we're feeling good as a team. We just can't climb uphill very good.
Well, yeah, and when you're sending their star player to the line and he's making all his shots and we're going to the line and we're not making a single one of our shots, like we just couldn't
Yeah.
We can't keep up. You just can't keep up. When they start building that lead and we can't keep, like we start losing ground, we're not the type of team that can, at this point in the season, we're not the type of team that makes their free throws. So we can't make that ground up when we go to the line, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, if you also look at the first half, Lillard had 9 free throws in the first half, and he ended. Yeah, I'm sorry, he went 15 of 16, so he missed one. So his streak is over no matter what. So, Lottie effing Dobbs, I guess. But he made less the second half because he was probably just making his shots, and that's what he was. He ended up having 13 3-point attempts and only had 5 at half. 1 of 5 at half, ends the game 5 of 13, right? So he goes 4 of 8 in the second half. That's not bad. And that's kind of the reason that he got hot there in the fourth quarter. I don't have the fourth quarter stats. I'm not breaking them down right now. Yeah. And so honestly, like when I break down the game, what I look at is big runs and kind of what happens and a little bit of what this team needs. And we'll get a little bit into the trade talk and kind of what maybe their problem is and what fixes some of the issues. Is it coaching? Is it players that we just don't have the right players? But I will say that if you look at this team as currently constructed, right, I think they are a very, very good team. But unfortunately, I think they are a very, very good regular season team. And the reason of that is because they have the guys on the bench that are young. The culture in Memphis is great, right? And so everybody kind of fits in. The coaching staff from the front office all the way down to the G League, they kind of know what to do. They know how to put you in that, right? You don't have a square peg and a round hole, right? Everybody, if you're a round peg, you go the round hole, square peg, square, right? We know how to put our pegs, right? But we can't figure out how to get the right players because it seems like we have a lot of the same players right now on this team. And so when we get up, our shooting is not good at all. And so what the problem is when we get behind, if it gets too far out, it's over because we can't catch up because we don't have enough time. We have to have Ja go downhill consistently to be able to catch up. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's not fair either. I mean, it's not fair to ask that of him. I don't think. Like, yeah, you can tell. Like, you can see him getting a little exasperated too. I mean, shoot, he had a triple-double, or I thought he had a triple-double at halftime, and then he never got that other rebound the rest of the game. Like he can't do everything for us. As much as he can do, it's just a tough ask on him.
Yeah, it was a great game out of Ja overall, just in general. But the fact that he doesn't get that triple-double after everybody was talking about it, right, the whole time. He ends up with more free throw attempts than Damian Lillard. So you can't really say that, Dame was getting to the line so much that was the reason that they were winning. Because in all honesty, Ja went to the free throw line 2 more times, or not 2 more times. He had 2 more attempts at the free throw line than Damian Lillard. But overall, it was weird. It was ugly. Let's get into a little bit more about the game. And we're going to spend, obviously, a lot of time on this game because the fact is that we talked about trading, a lot, and we'll get into a little bit. We'll dabble kind of around tonight. But we have a game tomorrow. And so against the Cavs, they're literally going to fly out tonight to Cleveland. It's on national TV, unfortunately. And it's a back-to-back. Like, I don't want to get into that too much, but I do want to get into this game and break it down a little bit more. And one thing I want to look at is kind of our shooting woes, and mainly from the three-point line. It's absolutely abysmal. And that's what I think has to change for this team. They cannot go 9 of 37. You can't shoot one more 3-point attempt than the team that lives for the three-point line. 37 attempts compared to the Blazers 36. They made 5 more than you, 38.9%. Not bad at all, right? 38.9%. I'll take that. 24.3 for the Grizzlies. That's the difference. And that's what the shooting woes really showed me is we're not taking the right shots and we don't have the right people taking them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, what'd you call him during in our group chat? Danny Airball Green.
Oh my God.
He took 4 and none of them looked. I mean, did
he hit
3
the rim
misses
yet?
were bad.
Do we know if he's hit the rim? Because the first one I thought was a swish, right? The one it made?
The one he made was a swish.
Okay, so he had 4 attempts and he never hit the rim.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and that was Tyus had 4, Zaire had 4. I don't know what Zaire's doing. Santi, who I normally like making those threes, he didn't make any of his tonight. Like Jaren wasn't making any of his. Like,
but why are we shooting? They have no size underneath, and we're shooting one more 3-pointer than the team who is small. They have Anthony Simons and Damian Lillard who shoot 3-pointers. Damian Lillard had 13 attempts, and we shot more than their entire team. We had more than they did. Like, it's absolutely bonkers to me that we have the roster currently constructed, and we're shooting more 3-pointers than the Portland Trailblazers. Like, what sense does that make?
It doesn't. And like, I love Coach Jenkins. I love TJ, but like, wouldn't you tell him to stop? I mean, don't tell him to stop, but like, it wasn't working tonight. Like it wasn't working at any point of the game. It's not like we started out shooting the ball well and then it trailed off. We were shooting the ball poorly the entire game from 3. I don't know. I mean, what's his motto? Like shoot the
whatever fly.
Yeah, that like
trays and lays. Yeah.
Maybe
take a runner, tray, runner, lay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like
great,
pick your game.
I love it.
Throw a game in there where you mix things up a little bit. It's like it's just it's like any good relationship. You got to spice things up. Throw in a different philosophy every now and then because God knows we needed it tonight. Like if Jeremy Grant hadn't had that concussion, we might have gotten beat by like way more than we did.
Yeah, he was playing really well before he went out. If you look at theirs, the people who didn't have any, like Nasir Little 0-2, and they had, a couple guys have some. They literally, if you didn't have it, you just didn't keep shooting. Like that was just the truth. Like Damian Lillard had 13, but he went 5 of 13. Like he's gonna shoot because that's what happens. That's what he does. It just boggles my mind that we have a guy like Dylan Brooks who goes 1 of 6 from 3-point, and it just. I don't know. It frustrates me.
Jaren's only taken 3.
Yeah, it frustrates me the most. It frustrates me that Xavier Tillman's playing 28 minutes when they don't have any size. They don't have any size. He has no offensive game. What is he doing out there? Because your rotations are stuck in the mud? Like I'm very, very, very little on being critical of Taylor Jenkins. But the fact that you don't go with somebody like a David Roddy in that position who has a little bit more athleticism, somebody who has a little bit more size to him, who can guard if he needs to, like a Drew Eubanks, who is very athletic. And I think Brevin even talked about it tonight. The fact that we're not going with different guys because their game plan changes because they had guys that got hurt. They're 2 big guys. They're starters. Both get hurt, and we don't make an adjustment. 28 minutes. For a guy like Xavier Tillman, who did he play okay? Yeah, he was fine, right? He had 10 rebounds, which is great, right? He was the leading rebounder, 5 assists, right? He played good, but he just wasn't doing anything for us on the offensive end. And that's really what we needed tonight because it was a game where you get yours. And he was just getting blown by on defense a lot of the time. So that frustrates me, and I get it. But the fact that we didn't make any adjustment just kind of upsets me. Upsets me, Lou. Pisses me off.
I don't blame you. And like Anthony Simons had 4 fouls in the first half. Like you got Nurkic, you got Grant, you got Simons, who all 3 were technically could have been non-factors in that second half. And just like you said, no adjustments were made. Like we kept with the same stuff we were doing. And tonight was a good example. I'm with you. It's like my critiques of TJ are few and far between. I really love what he's doing here, but tonight was one of those games where you're kind of banging your head against the wall, just like, come on, man, put Roddy in. Just put Roddy in. Just put him in. See what he can do.
And the other thing is so let's just go ahead and pull the Band-Aid off a little bit more. So we're eventually going to get Steve-O back, right? He's going to replace Xavier Tillman, and our starters are set at that point. So if we have Danny Green on this team, he's going to play over Conchar and he's going to play over Roddy, because I don't see you putting any of those guys over Tyus, Clark, Zaire, or Aldama. So we're going with a guy like Danny Green. I'm not saying that is the wrong decision, but it's not a decision that I would make. And that's why I've been very blatant on he is not the player that we need. Like, I don't know what we need, but it ain't it. And you know what? I won't be critical of the guy. I was joking earlier about him going and shooting Danny Airball Green. Like, I get that. I'm not going to be too critical of him because it's his first game. It's not that. It's just I don't know if he's going to be what we need. And yes, we do need somebody to knock down shots, but how many minutes is he going to play? Like, how is he going to be able to leap over a guy like Zaire in the lineup? Is he going to be able to? Can Zaire actually show up? Like, that's the other question we have to answer with this team. I know we have a lot left of the season, but I'm just looking at all these scenarios with this team, and it frustrates me a little bit, because I think we have a lot of potential, but I also think that we have a lot left to be desired, because I think we really need to shake it up a little bit. And I have a piece that's going to be coming out soon. And I don't write many articles, right? Only when I feel, I say impassioned. Impassioned is probably a good word. I will try to stay away from what Chris is saying here in the chat. Another tweet. If y'all don't know, if you hear in the intro, the tweet where Jaw kind of that fire in his eye. Yeah, that was me, unfortunately. You know what? No, I'll wear that. I'll wear that badge of honor. I don't write up very often, but I really do believe in this team needing to make a trade. I really do. And so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of that trade talk, Luke. And thank you all for joining us so far. We're going to make this somewhat of a quick night. And so I want to make sure that we kind of let everybody know that we are doing the crossover week. I guess that's what we've dubbed it so far, the crossover week. Luke is from the No Bluffin Podcast, which is on the Grizz 901 network. Chris is going to be with me tomorrow night, unless whatever breaks loose. You never know with kids. Sometimes they change plans. We were supposed to have Nicole on tonight. Unfortunately, she is sick and she could barely even talk. So you know what? Let's send her with a hottie toddy to bed. And so she's probably snoozing, probably watching this in the morning. So good morning, Nicole. But yeah, what do you think about this, Luke? And for the trade aspect, do you think this team needs to make a trade? Are you team trade or team no trade?
I am team trade, and it's. I think if you're not team trade at this point, and I just think that you're kind of looking at the equation with blinders on, because we got too many draft picks, we've got too many guys, and you're silly if you think a championship window is going to stay open forever.
Speaking my language.
Yeah. So I think that it's like, oh, well, if A plus B plus C will get you D, why would it just seems like it's the next step for this team to be taken seriously. I don't know, as an organization, as a big team, it's like, this is what needs to happen to win a championship. You got to make the big moves. If you have the ammo to do it, you just have to.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the old saying, strike while the iron's hot, honestly, that's the time. And right now is the time. And I'm not saying I don't like these players, okay? I'm not saying that. I really like this team. I really like the front office. I like the coaching staff. I like what it all has, kind of compounded into, because I've been there. I've been up there in the pyramid, sitting there smelling like Fritos and dirty socks and watching a team lose every single night by 20 points. I was there. Okay. I had the Sonic Saver seat, stupid things. I don't know what they were called. I think that's what they're called.
I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called. I've been there. I promise you, I have seen worse. So we're blessed. Okay. I will say that first and foremost. We are absolutely blessed. We have a team that is really good. But when you see something, it's kind of like when, and Luke, you don't have kids, but I have kids, and you see something, you're like, man, and I have a little team. I coach my little girls team, our basketball team. I swear every sport, but right now we're in basketball, and I see them and I see that light kind of pop on for them. I'm like, oh, that's it. That's the light. Like, go get it. Like, be better. Like, I want you to be that, not because of me. I could care less. Like, whatever, be yourself. Yeah. But I want them to be so good. And that's kind of what I see with this team is they're so close. Does a piece change things? Does something else change it? Honestly, does a week break change things? Yes. And that's what we're coming up on is we're getting closer to the All-Star break. And that's really going to be crucial for a team that's in second place. They're young. A lot of them might be hitting a wall, like David Roddy, Jake LaRavia. They're probably a little worn down. They just got out of a college, basketball season. Now they're getting into this. It might be a chance to everybody kind of catch their breath a little bit, kind of step back, go live on an island for about 4 or 5 days, and get back here and you know what? Have a margarita, a Mai Tai. What else? We just name all of them, whatever.
A daiquiri.
Yeah, some daiquiri. You know what? I had a bruised dirty banana when I was in wherever I was from my honeymoon forever ago. Dirty banana, frozen drink. It was delicious. Don't get me started because, man, I will get either hungry or thirsty. I don't know what I was, but it was delicious. But I really do think, yeah, it was delicious. But I really do think that this team needs to kind of take a deep breath and catch itself a little bit. Take a step back and kind of understand, like, hey, we're here, we're doing it, but we could be better. And that's either internally or making a trade and making a move. On making a trade, making a move, is there anybody out there that you see that you're like, hey, that guy fits us? And I'm not going to allow you to say OG, right? So I'm going to take away the training wheels because everybody's saying OG. I'll let you say anybody else because I think everybody else is kind of up in the air. Is there anybody out there that you're seeing like, hey, I don't even know if the numbers work. I don't even care if the numbers work. That's the type of player I want. Maybe not the player, but the type of player that you want for this team and for whatever position.
I really, really like a Gary Trent Jr. type of player.
Okay.
Granted, I believe it was today he said he's looking for his next deal to be like 20 mil. And yeah. I don't know. I don't like that.
Well, he's at 17 already next year if he wants to opt in. Honestly, that doesn't take much if you want to offer him $3 million more to get him for another 3 or 4 years. What you're saying, like 4 years, $80 million. I think the Grizzlies would say, hey, we'll do that.
I think and I know a lot of this depends on the type of role that these guys want, but I think that he has the defense, has the kind of like spark that you need from someone who can come in and take over a game without losing anything on defense. He's still within the age of these guys. That's who I would like, a player like that.
Yeah. No, I listen, I love Gary Trent Jr. I'm a Duke fan, right? And so I understand a lot of what he is and what he does and what he brings to the table. He's better defensively than people realize. Took him a little bit. He was a late bloomer, especially at Duke. He was a late bloomer, but he's kind of come on a little bit. He is the ultimate sixth man. And I think he has defensively enough to be in a closing lineup. He has the shot selection. I would love a little bit more hustle, but I think that kind of comes with winning. If you're winning, you hustle more. That's just the truth. And so I do think that a guy like Gary Trent Jr. is key. I think he's key on a championship team. But I also want to ask you a question because I don't want to give you anybody that I like because I do have my piece that's coming out, and I kind of want to. It's not mentioning players, right? But it's mentioning how the Grizzlies should respond, whether they trade or no trade, and the reasons why. And I kind of break down the 3 seasons, this season and the next 2 upcoming. Like kind of, I don't know, like I lost my train of thought now. I've just completely lost it. I almost got it back together, and I feel like it lost me last second. It was about Gary Trent Jr. I don't really remember. Anyway,
it was about who we would give up for him, maybe.
Go with that. Go with that because that is that's the next question I want to have is who would you be willing to come off of for that? Because I do remember now. Sorry, it was about Gary Trent Jr. So he makes. Sorry, I just saw a comment. So he makes roughly 18-17 million. That's an expiring contract, right? For one, we don't have a guy that makes that amount of money. So we have to kind of bundle up one of the guys, like a throwaway like Danny Green. You got to bundle up some other players to get a guy like that. Who would you give away, right, for a guy who potentially you could lose in the offseason if he doesn't opt back in to a player option or you can't give it an extension to?
I would, and I hate losing him. But I'm thinking if I'm Toronto, the player that I would want and the player that I think I could get, I would say Jake LaRavia. I love him, but I think a lot of other people in the league also love him, and I think his upside is there, and I think he could probably fit really well next to Scotty Barnes. I think that I would throw him with Danny Green and just kind of package that and maybe a draft pick.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I hate asking that 2 details because that's what everybody's going to end up holding you to it. Like that's the trade you want. Because it's not about the play. It's not the player in general. It's about the type of player. And so I do think that if you have to come off of a guy like Jake LaRavia, even Zaire Williams, I think that you have to get somebody who is willing to sign an extension. Or if you have a player that might kind of be somebody who's under contract. And that's the reason OG is such a hot name right now. It's because he has another 2 years after this year. He has next year he's under contract, and the year after it's got a player option. Weirdly enough, the Grizzlies do not have anybody on the roster under contract that has a player option. Everybody has the contract or a club option. It's weird. I've been looking through a lot of contracts through different teams, and I was just looking through that. I'm like, my God, like they don't have anybody that says, hey, here's a player option. They're all under club option, a team option, or it's just their straight contract. Everything's guaranteed. So it just, I don't know.
That's interesting.
It's weird, and it also worries me about these other teams that have these player options because I don't know them well enough to know if they would actually sign an extension and stay here. But if you can make an extra $3 million and that's all it is, dude, give him $3 million. It's not that big a deal. All right, real quick, let's answer a question or two from the chat. Dave Vickers asked about Conchar. So he's, obviously he corrected himself later, so I don't want to just make him look bad. But John Conchar still on concussion protocol. Is he in a coma? He's actually back with the team. He was cleared tonight to play. But they held him out for precautionary reasons. And so he's still, I guess he's out of concussion protocol, but he's back on the team. He's back on the bench. Everything's normal. They just want to have him an extra game because probably they wanted to put Danny Green over him. Because the reason is tomorrow night, you're probably not playing Danny Green on the back-to-back, even though he played 9 minutes and 44 seconds or whatever it was. So if Danny Green doesn't play, that's their excuse. And I told you that before. If you're a loyal listener, they're going to start resting people certain ways so it doesn't look like they're getting DNP'd by the coach. And so possibly tomorrow night you're going to see Conchar play over Danny Green and David Roddy. Like that's just probably what's going to happen. It's going to be weird, but it's going to happen. All right. So another thing
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Or let's just Well, who do you think gets to start tomorrow? Do you think we start X?
We have to. They have a big guy.
They got two big guys.
Because they have big guy, you have to play big guy, right? That sounds so bad. I'm sorry, Taylor Jenkins. I make him sound so stupid, but literally that's what we're going to do. We're going to match up because they have a big, we're going to go big. And honestly, it's Jared Allen. I get it. And he's a big rebounder. I would probably go with that decision as well. But I would probably go with Xavier Tillman, match him up there. And then you have Jaren against Evan Mobley. And Mobley's been amazing, right? If you're a betting person, I believe that Mobley is probably a 7.5 on rebounds. So you bet him to get 8 or more rebounds. Probably a good bet on it. Probably a good bet. All right. What else do you have, Luke? We're going to try to get out of here. I'm going to get your thoughts and about the game for tomorrow night against the Cavaliers. So short shelf life on this podcast, but thank you all for listening. Anything else that you have overall the team tonight? Anything else going up before we kind of get into a little bit more about you?
No, knowing that we had a back-to-back, I would have liked to see him win this one. You know, it's just it's almost more frustrating and disappointing knowing that we got the Cavs tomorrow, that we couldn't pull this one out.
It is very frustrating. More pisses me off more than frustrating. It's just straight pisses me off. You know who doesn't piss me off? They take care of me. Is Zach Jaworski, State Farm. Give our guys 901-443-4798. Give them a call. Let them know the Grizz 901 team sent you. You can find them on the web at Zach, Z-A-C-H, ZachInsuresMemphis.com. That's Zach Jaworski, State Farm, where they treat you like family. If you have any insurance needs at all, please go check them out. They have offices in East Memphis as well as Collierville. And so their team is very friendly, and I promise you they will take good care of you. On the bottom, we have our merch, Grizz 901 merch. If you want any of that, just go over to grindcitydesigns.com/Grizz901. Can't talk tonight. Grizz 901 merch. grindcitydesigns.com/Grizz901. Real quick, before we get into our expectations for tomorrow night, I want to hit on that. I want to ask something about you. You had an article just came out. Let's talk about it a little bit. What was it about? And did the airball make you feel bad?
So it was about Danny Green, and I may or may not have watched the entire first half standing up, just like arms crossed, waiting for him to get minutes, just because I was like, it came out today. I gotta see what he looks like. And then there was the first air ball and then the second air ball, and I was like, well, shoot.
Yeah,
and
that's what happens.
I don't want to pull the trigger and be like, well, yeah, it's option 3, trade him, clearly. But you said it, like he missed that first shot, and you were like, get him off the team.
I wouldn't react like that normally, and I still do not believe that. But this is kind of a joke, and especially I'm the one that even brought up to write that article. I think
I know.
Go through with it. So,
and I was like, I got this.
Yeah, Danny Green is a polarizing figure. He will be on this team. He will be for the next, I want to say 8 days. So February 9th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is the trade deadline. Okay. So no, the Grizzlies are going to be very active. The Grizzlies have a game tomorrow against the Cavs. And then they play Sunday. And who are they playing Sunday? Do you know, Luke?
Jurassic Park, baby, the Raptors.
They are playing the Raptors on Sunday. And so that is the third game of Danny Green's journey. And then they end Tuesday before the trade deadline. They come their last game of the 2-game homestand against the Bulls, and that was on the 7th. And so we're gonna figure some things out, and we're gonna figure out if we're gonna have Danny Green on this team for long or nah. But I believe that he will be on this team for 2 more games. All right. So expectations going in tomorrow night against the Cavs. What do you say? We get the dub?
No.
Wow. Hold on now. You're notorious for being the homer guy. What's going on?
I'm like the homer guy. I like the Cavs a lot. And this is, this isn't the No Bluffin Pod, so I'm allowed to come over here and get a little frisky. So if we would have won tonight, I might have said we would have won. But I mean, Jaws almost triple-double. It's going to be tough. They're rested, man. They're rested, and they're coming off a loss too. They're going to be playing mad.
Yeah. They're definitely going to be playing mad. I wonder what that line's going to come out to be, because I think that is going to be a 5-point win. So, you know what? I'd say the line's probably 2.5. So I think it's a 5-point win by our friends in Cleveland. So if you're listening to this, unfortunately, I just looked at the line.
What is it?
It's 5. Wow.
Is it really? Damn.
It is. Wow. All right. So
called it.
Looks like I'm not betting. That's what I'm not doing. I would have bet 2.5, but not 5. Yeah, it worries me too. This team isn't clicking. They had a win, right? And now we're back to the losing streak. We've now lost 6 of the last 7. I know people want to talk about the other side of the winning streak. Let's talk about the losses. 6 of the last 7, 15 and 16 against the West. That's not ideal. But they're going to bounce back. I think they literally have 3 more games until the All-Star break. So everybody just buckle up, hang on. We're going to have a lot of fun. So I do think that they do go into Cleveland and take the loss. A few more things I want to talk about, though, is tomorrow we do have Chris on here from the No Bluffin Podcast. It's going to be here hanging out with me. We're going to welcome Nicole as well. I don't know if she'll probably be able to come, but I know she wasn't able to tonight. So I'm going to welcome her tomorrow night and see if she can join us. So she possibly will. And then we'll probably do an episode Sunday. So practically every game we're going to hit until the trade deadline. Not really planned most of the time. We try to just do Sunday nights or weekdays because my schedule works out like that. But we're talking about the Raptors. It's probably going to be a big game. I'm going to try to have Nate back on here as well as maybe Ryan. I'll try to invite both of them to come back here. And then Tuesday, I'm going to have Sean Coleman from over there at SBN Nation, the SBN Grizzlies. Sean's a friend of mine, and so he's going to come on here. And the reason I want to have him on then is because it's the last game before the trade deadline. So if any rumors or anything's going out there, I want to give us a chance to talk through it a little bit, because on the 8th and the 9th are days and when they don't have games. And so we're probably going to have podcasts coming out from guys on our network. But I want to go ahead and have Sean on here to kind of talk through maybe some rumors and some situations that we might have, as well as maybe talk about the article that has come out by then from me. And so a lot going on. It's a fun time, though. It's a fun time to be a Grizzlies fan. We're still second in the West, right? So nothing to write home about, nothing crazy. But I will say that the loss tonight did give Denver the sole coaching duties of the All-Star game of Team LeBron. It kind of irritates me a little bit because I wanted that for Taylor, but unfortunately, it doesn't come to fruition. So, all right, Luke, what else you got out here before we get out of here on a record time? We're under 40 minutes.
I'm not gonna keep us any longer, man. I'm stay tuned for your article. It's gonna be good. I like I think you're gonna say some stuff that it's gonna be good. Just stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, Luke's actually been helping me. So I'm like, hey, does this make sense? I even let my wife read it, and she goes, why does Desmond Bain, she loves Desmond Bain, why does Desmond Bain not make any money?
Great question.
Keep reading. Keep
You'll
reading.
get there. You'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there. It's okay. That's like page 3, whatever you're on. I don't know. But that's all we have. It's been a crazy week. It's been a good week. The Grizzlies are obviously not playing well. They'll bounce back. They always do. It's been a weird season, but it's still a good season, right? So no, the sky is not falling. We're still having fun. This crossover week has been great, and so we're going to keep hanging out with you. But make sure you give us a subscribe on YouTube, review, whatever you can do for us. We want to make sure that we are getting out the content that everybody wants to see, wants to hear. It helps the algorithms. Our YouTube has been absolutely doing really well as of late. Podcast is as strong as ever. Podcast is still chugging along, doing its normal numbers. But YouTube has been really strong. And so we're thinking about possibly getting the No Bluffin Podcast eventually on YouTube, and then also getting free basketball over there as well. So All in all, it's been great. It's been fun. The network is rocking. The Grizz lead is rocking. Give us a follow over there at Grizz_lead. I think we're almost at 3,000 followers, and we were at 1,500 when I took over, maybe at 1,200. I don't know what it was, but everything's rocking. Everything's doing good. The Grizzlies are not doing so great right now, but they were. So we'll be back better than ever. But that's all we have. Luke, can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. It's been fun. We're going to have a great week, and we're getting out of here under 45 minutes now, right? I rambled too long. I'll kind of shut
That's
up
okay.
now.
We're good.
All right, let's have a great week. Bundle up. Hang out with your kids like I am because they're all out of school, and it's crazy. But hang out, enjoy the time. But most of all, be nice and tell your friends.